The stars shone brightly against the dark space as Captain Do Young looked through the main window of his spaceship. The Earth Spaceship Sentinel was the newest and best ship humans had ever built. Do Young had been its captain for 3 years now, and he knew every sound and shake it made. Something felt different today. "Captain, the sensors are picking up something strange," said Hejin, who worked at the ship's main computer. She pushed her long black hair behind her ear as she looked at the glowing screens in front of her. "The numbers don't make sense." Do Young walked over to her station. The screen showed the normal space rocks and dust they usually saw, but there was something else. Something that made his skin tingle with that familiar feeling he got when things weren't right. "Show me the last hour of sensor readings," he said, leaning closer to the screen. Hejin pressed a few buttons, and new images appeared. They showed the same space they were in now, but from an hour ago. Everything looked normal, except for one small thing. The stars in one area seemed to move in a way that stars shouldn't move. "Get Myray up here," Do Young ordered. "She needs to see this." 5 minutes later, Dr. Myray Park walked onto the bridge. She was the ship's lead scientist, and if anyone could figure out what was happening, it would be her. Her white lab coat had coffee stains on it, showing she had been working hard in her lab as usual. "What's so important that you needed me to leave my experiments?" she asked, but her annoyed look changed to interest when she saw the screen. "Oh, that's not right at all." Myray sat down at the computer next to Hejin and started typing quickly. More screens appeared, filled with numbers and graphs that only she fully understood. Her eyes got wider as she looked at each new screen. "Captain," she said slowly, "I think we're being watched." The bridge went quiet. Even the usual beeping of the computers seemed softer. "Watched? By what?" Do Young asked, keeping his voice calm even though his heart was beating faster. "I don't know exactly what, but look here." Myray pointed to one of her screens. "See how the light from these stars bends slightly? That's not natural. Something is making that happen. Something big." Just then, Jiho's voice came from the weapons station. "Captain, I'm picking up some strange energy readings. They're very weak, but they're there, and they're moving." Do Young straightened up and looked around at his crew. 20 years of flying in space had taught him to trust his gut, and right now his gut was screaming that they had stumbled onto something big. "Send a message to Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them we found something unusual, and we're investigating." "Should we arm weapons?" Jiho asked, his hand hovering over the weapons controls. Do Young thought for a moment. "No, not yet. Whatever's out there hasn't attacked us. Let's not start a fight if we don't have to." Myray kept working at her computer, muttering to herself as she looked at more and more data. Her fingers flew over the keyboard as she tried different ways to understand what they were seeing. "This is amazing," she said finally. "Captain, I think whatever's out there is bending light around itself. Like a chameleon, but much more advanced. They're literally making light go around them instead of bouncing off them." "Is that even possible?" Hejin asked, looking confused. "Apparently it is," Myray answered, "but they're not perfect at it. They're leaving traces we can see in other types of light, like ultraviolet and infrared. They'd probably evolved to hide from beings that only see regular light, like most life forms do." Do Young walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at space again. Somewhere out there, something was watching them. Something that thought it was invisible. "Can you modify our sensors to track these traces better?" he asked. Myray nodded. "Give me an hour. I'll need to change some settings and write new computer programs, but I think I can do it." "You have 30 minutes, Do Young said. "I want to know what we're dealing with as soon as possible." The next 30 minutes were busy. Myray worked on the sensors while Hejin helped her test the changes. Jiho kept watching for any sign of attack, even though the weapons weren't armed. The rest of the crew did their jobs, but everyone felt tense. Finally, Myray sat back in her chair and smiled. "It's ready. Running new sensor sweep now." Everyone watched as the main screen changed. At first, it showed the same view of space they had been looking at. Then new images appeared, showing things that hadn't been visible before. "Oh my God," Hejin whispered. 3 large ships appeared on the screen. They were unlike anything humans had ever seen before. Their shapes were smooth and curved, like water drops frozen in space. They were bigger than the Sentinel, maybe 3 or 4 times bigger. "They've been there the whole time," Du Young said quietly, "watching us, probably trying to figure out if we could see them." "Captain," Jaiho called out, "the energy readings are getting stronger. I think they know we can see them now." As if to prove Jaiho right, the 3 alien ships suddenly moved. They spread out, taking positions around the Sentinel. It was a move that would have been scary if you couldn't see it coming, but now it just looked clumsy and obvious. "They're not used to being seen," Mayray said, watching the screen with interest. "Look at how they move. They're used to surprising their targets. They don't know what to do now that we can track them." Do Young nodded. "Send out a general greeting on all frequencies. Let's see if they want to talk." Hejin sent the message, which was a simple hello in many different languages and mathematical codes. They waited for what felt like forever, but was probably only a few minutes. Then one of the alien ships moved closer. A new energy reading appeared on their screens. "They're scanning us," Mayray reported. "Very thoroughly. They seem especially interested in our sensors." "Of course they are," Du Young said with a small smile. "We did just do something they probably thought was impossible." Suddenly, all their screens lit up with new information. The alien ships were sending them data, lots of it. Mayray's eyes got big as she looked at it. "This is incredible. They're sending us information about themselves, about their species." She read quickly through the data. "They call themselves." Well, the closest translation would be the hidden ones. They evolved on a planet with lots of dangerous predators, so they developed the ability to bend light around themselves to hide. "Like a defense mechanism?" Hejin asked. "At first, yes," Mayray answered, still reading. "But as they got smarter and developed technology, they turned it into a way to hunt. They became the predators instead of the prey. They've been using this ability to study and hunt other species across the galaxy for thousands of years. And no one ever saw them," Jaiho asked. "No one could see them," Du Young corrected. "Until now." More data came in from the alien ships. Mayray read it out loud as it appeared. "They're surprised we could detect them. They've never met a species that could see through their camouflage before. They want to know how we did it." Do Young thought carefully about what to do next. This was a first contact situation with a species that had been secretly watching other civilizations for who knows how long. What they did next could affect human history forever. "Send them basic information about how we detected them," he decided. "Nothing classified, just general science about light and sensors. Show them we're willing to share knowledge." As Hejin sent the message, Du Young walked back to the front window. The alien ships were visible now, their strange shapes breaking the pattern of stars. They were beautiful in their own way, he thought. "Captain," Mayray called out, "they're sending more data. They want to establish diplomatic relations with Earth. They say we're the first species they've met that they consider truly advanced." Do Young smiled. This was why he had joined Earth's Space Force, to make discoveries, to meet new life forms, to push the boundaries of human knowledge. They had just proved that humans could see what no one else in the galaxy could see, and in doing so, they had earned the respect of a powerful alien species. "Send a message to Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them to prepare for visitors. Very interesting visitors that only we can see." As the crew worked to arrange the details of this historic first contact, Du Young looked at the alien ships again. They were still trying to stay hidden, their light-bending technology working just as it always had. But to human eyes, enhanced by human science and human curiosity, they stood out clearly against the stars. It was a powerful reminder that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in physical abilities or natural defenses. It was in their minds, in their ability to observe, to question, to learn, and to see things in new ways. The hidden ones had evolved the perfect camouflage, but humans had evolved something better. The ability to look past the surface and see what others couldn't see. The next few days would be busy, full of meetings and talks and exchange of information. But for now, Du Young was content to stand on his bridge, watching the stars and the not-so-invisible alien ships, proud to be part of the species that had changed the galaxy's balance of power, not through strength or violence, but through science and observation. The hidden ones would never be able to hide from humans, and somehow, Du Young thought, that was going to make the galaxy a much more interesting place. 3 days had passed since the ESS Sentinel first spotted the hidden ones. The ship now sat in space, surrounded by 3 alien vessels that most species in the galaxy couldn't even see. Inside the Sentinel's main meeting room, Captain Du Young sat at a large table, looking at the strange creature across from him. The alien looked like a mix between a jellyfish and a glass sculpture. Its body was almost clear, with gentle waves of color moving through it as it spoke. Du Young could see why they had evolved to bend light. Their bodies were already halfway there naturally. "Your species continues to surprise us," the alien said through the translator device on the table. Its name was Tae-Ray, or at least that's what it chose to be called after learning some Korean names from the crew. "No other race has ever seen through our camouflage." May-Ray sat next to Du Young, taking notes on her tablet. She couldn't stop staring at their visitor. "It's really quite simple once you understand the science," she said. "Light doesn't just disappear. It has to go somewhere. You bend it around you, but that creates patterns we can detect in other wavelengths." The aliens' colors shifted to a deep blue, which they had learned meant interest or curiosity. "Simple, you say? Yet in thousands of years of hunting and exploring, no other species has figured this out." He-Jin, who was sitting at the other end of the table, spoke up. "Maybe they weren't looking in the right places. Humans are curious. We like to look everywhere, even where others say there's nothing to see." The alien's body rippled, its version of a nod. More aliens had come aboard the Sentinel over the past few days. They were learning from each other, sharing stories and information. But something was bothering Du Young. "You keep mentioning hunting," he said carefully. "What exactly were you hunting?" The room grew quiet. The alien's colors swirled for a moment before settling into a pattern they hadn't seen before. "We should show you," it said finally. "Your ship can follow us." Du Young looked at his crew members, then back at the alien. "Yes, we can follow you. Where are we going?" "To one of our observation posts. It's time you understood what we do out here." 2 hours later, the Sentinel followed the alien ships through space. They had jumped several times through what the hidden ones called fold points, places where space could be bent just like light. Now they were approaching a small rocky planet. "Sensors show artificial structures on the surface," He-Jin reported from her station on the bridge. "They're hidden like their ships, but we can see them now that we know what to look for." The alien ships led them to a landing area. It was strange to see the massive landing pad appear out of nowhere as their sensors cut through the light-bending technology hiding it. The Sentinel was the first non-hidden one ship to ever land here. Inside the base, Du Young and his crew walked through corridors that seemed to fade in and out of sight. May-Ray's modified sensors helped them see where they were going, but it was still disorienting. Finally, they entered a large room filled with screens and strange devices. "This is one of our watching stations," Tae-Ray explained. "From here, we observe developing species on nearby worlds." The screens showed different planets and the creatures living on them. Some looked like early humans might have looked thousands of years ago. Others were completely alien. All of them were going about their lives, not knowing they were being watched. "You're studying them," May-Ray said, looking at the screens with growing understanding. "But why hide? Why not make contact?" Another alien, who called itself Sun-High, moved forward. Its colors were darker, more serious. We don't just study them. We test them, push them, sometimes hunt them. Do Young felt his stomach tighten. You hunt thinking beings. Only the violent ones, Tairi said quickly. The ones that would destroy themselves and others if they reached space. We've seen it happen too many times. Species that aren't ready for space travel finding others, starting wars, causing destruction. So you appointed yourselves as Galaxy's guardians? Hejin asked, her voice sharp. We protected the peace, Sun, he said. For thousands of years, we've kept balance. Aggressive species would disappear. Peaceful ones would survive. It worked. Until now, Du Young said quietly. Until you met a species that could see you. The aliens' colors swirled in patterns of deep purple and green. They were nervous, he realized. For the first time in their history, they weren't in control. Mayray had moved to one of the control panels and was studying it. These readings, you're not just watching Earth, are you? You've been testing us too. Yes, Tairi admitted. For the past 50 of your years, we've been observing humans, testing you. But you were different. Different how? Du Young asked. Every test we created, you solved in unexpected ways, Sun-High explained. The asteroid we sent toward Earth, other species would try to destroy it. You built ships to mine it instead. The virus we released in your oceans, you not only cured it but used its protein structure to make new medicines. The war scenarios we created, you found ways to make peace. You did all that? Hejin asked, her voice rising. You could have killed millions. No, Tairi said. We always had ways to stop disasters if needed. But we never needed to with humans. You always found better solutions than we expected. Do Young walked to the window that looked out over the alien world. His mind was racing with this new information. The Hidden Ones had been manipulating galaxy life for thousands of years, playing games with whole species, deciding who lived and who died. And now, he asked, turning back to the aliens, now that we can see you, now that we know what you've been doing, what happens? The aliens were silent for a long moment. Finally, Tairi spoke. Now we need to talk, really talk, about the future. The future of what? Everything. Sun, he said. The galaxy. All species. Us. You. Nothing can be the same now. We can't hide from you. And you won't let us continue as we have been. No, Du Young agreed. We won't. Mayray had been quiet for a while, still studying the alien technology. Now she looked up. But maybe that's good. Look at all this knowledge you have, all these technologies. And look what we've shown you about seeing things differently. Maybe together we could do more than either of us could alone. Tairi finished. Its colors had shifted to a bright, clear blue. That's why we brought you here, to offer a partnership. A partnership? Hejin asked. After everything you just told us about what you've been doing. Yes, Sun, he said, because you've proven something to us. Something important. Being able to hide isn't enough. Being able to see through deception, to find new solutions, to think differently, that's what really matters. Humans have shown us that there might be better ways than just hunting and hiding. Do Young looked at his crew members. They had come out here to explore, to learn, to make discoveries. Instead, they had stumbled onto one of the biggest secrets in the galaxy. Now they had a choice to make. We'll need to discuss this with Earth's leaders, he said finally. This isn't a decision we can make alone. But I think you're right. Things can't go back to how they were before. The question is, can we find a way forward that works for everyone? The aliens' colors shifted to patterns the humans had never seen before. That, Tairi said, is exactly the kind of thinking that makes your species so different, so special. As they prepared to return to their ship, Du Young took one last look at the observation room. The screen still showed worlds full of beings who didn't know they were being watched. But maybe now, with humans able to see the hidden ones, those beings would have a better chance. Maybe now there could be real growth, real contact, real cooperation. "Captain," Mayray called from the doorway. "Earth Command is waiting for our report. What should we tell them?" Do Young smiled slightly. Tell them the galaxy just got a lot more interesting. And a lot more visible." As they walked back to their ship, Do Young thought about how much had changed in just a few days. Humans had proved they could see what no one else could see. But more importantly, they had proved they could see better ways of doing things, better ways of handling problems, better ways of moving forward. The hidden ones would never be truly hidden again. And maybe that was the best thing that could have happened. For them, for humans, and for every species in the galaxy. 1 month had passed since the crew of the Sentinel discovered the hidden ones. Earth's leaders had been meeting with the alien representatives every day, trying to figure out what to do next. Captain Du Young sat in his office on the Sentinel, reading reports from these meetings when Mayray burst in. "Captain, you need to see this right away," she said, her face excited. She was holding her tablet computer like it contained the secrets of the universe. Do Young put down his reports. "What did you find?" "Remember how the hidden ones showed us their observation posts? Well, I've been studying the data they shared with us. There's something they didn't tell us." Mayray put her tablet on his desk and brought up some pictures. The images showed different alien worlds, but something was wrong with them. Some had huge areas where nothing grew. Others showed signs of battles or disasters. Du Young felt his stomach sink as he looked at them. "These are worlds they tested, aren't they?" he asked quietly. Mayray nodded. "Yes, but look at the dates. Some of these tests happened just weeks before we found them. They were still doing it, even while they were talking to us about peace and cooperation." Just then, He Jin's voice came through the ship's speakers. "Captain, we're picking up strange energy readings. Multiple hidden one ships just appeared near Earth's moon base." Do Young stood up quickly. "How many ships?" 20 at least, sir. And more are coming." Mayray looked at her tablet again, her face worried. "Captain, I think I know what they're doing. These readings match the ones from some of their tests on other worlds." Do Young rushed to the bridge, Mayray right behind him. The main screen showed the moon base, and around it were the shapes of hidden one ships. They were only visible because of the special sensors Mayray had designed. "Get me Earth Command," Du Young ordered. As he waited for the connection, he watched more alien ships appear. This wasn't going to be good. The face of Admiral Sun appeared on the screen. "Captain Kim, we see them too. All Earth sensors have been upgraded with Dr. Park's modifications. We're tracking 37 hidden ones vessels near the moon base." "Admiral, they're going to test us again," Du Young said. "But this time it's not a small test. They're planning something big." Just then, Tyree's image appeared on another screen. The alien's colors were swirling in patterns Du Young had never seen before. "We had hoped you would understand," Tyree said. "We showed you our work, our purpose. We keep the galaxy safe by removing threats. Your species can see us now. That makes you dangerous." "We're not the ones threatening anyone," Du Young replied. "We offered friendship, cooperation." "Yes," another alien voice said. "It was sun-high. But then you started looking too deeply, finding things we didn't show you, questioning our methods. You're too curious, too clever. The others agree. Humans are too dangerous to let into space." The hidden one ships moved closer to the moon base. There were thousands of people living there, studying space and building new ships. Du Young knew they had to do something fast. "Mayray," he said quietly, "remember how you said their light-bending technology leaves traces we can track?" "Yes," she answered, already working at her computer. "The energy has to go somewhere. Can we do more than track it? Can we affect it?" Mayray's eyes got wide as she understood what he was asking. Maybe. Their whole technology is based on bending light. If we could disrupt that somehow, how long do you need? She looked at her computer, thinking fast. 20 minutes, maybe 15 if Hejin helps me. You have 10, Du Young said. Then he turned back to the screen showing Tyree. You say we're dangerous because we can see you. But that's not what really scares you, is it? The alien's colors shifted. What do you mean? We didn't just see through your camouflage. We saw through your excuses too. You talk about protecting the galaxy, but really you just want to control it. To decide who lives and who dies. While Du Young kept the aliens talking, Mei and Hejin worked frantically at their computers. Ji-ho kept his hands on the weapons controls, ready if they needed them. The rest of the crew moved quickly and quietly, following emergency plans they had practiced many times. Your species is young, son, he said. You cannot understand the responsibility we carry. The burden of keeping peace in the galaxy. Peace through fear isn't real peace, Du Young answered. Peace through hiding and threatening isn't real peace either. Real peace comes from understanding each other, working together, finding better ways to solve problems. Pretty words, Tyree said. But words won't save you now. Captain, Mei called out softly. We're ready. Du Young nodded slightly. You're right, Tyree. Words won't save us. But science might. He gave Mei the signal. She pressed a button on her computer, sending out a new kind of energy wave. It was designed to interact with the same patterns their sensors used to track the hidden ones. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then one of the alien ships flickered, becoming completely visible for a moment before its camouflage came back on. Then another flickered, and another. What are you doing? Tyree demanded, its colors showing alarm. The same thing you did to all those other species, Du Young answered. We're testing you, seeing how you handle something you didn't expect. More and more alien ships were flickering now. Their perfect camouflage was failing, making them visible not just to human sensors, but to everyone. Normal cameras on the moon base could see them now. Stop this, Sun Hai called out. You don't know what you're doing. Actually, we know exactly what we're doing, Mei said. Your light-bending technology is amazing, but it follows rules. Scientific rules. Once we understood those rules, we could find ways to affect them. The Hidden One's ships started moving erratically. Some tried to run away, but their camouflage kept failing. Others just sat there, probably not knowing what to do now that they couldn't hide. Listen carefully, Du Young said to the aliens. We don't want to fight you. We never did. But we won't let you threaten us or any other species anymore. Your time of hiding and hunting is over. You would destroy thousands of years of order, Tyree said. Chaos will spread through the galaxy. No, Du Young replied. Change will spread through the galaxy. Growth will spread. Understanding will spread. Isn't that better than fear and hiding? The alien ships stopped moving. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Tyree's colors changed to a pattern they had never seen before. Perhaps we have been hidden for too long, the alien said slowly. Perhaps we have forgotten how to see things clearly ourselves. Then let us help you remember, Du Young offered. Work with us openly this time. Really work with us. We can show you new ways of doing things, and you can share your knowledge with us. Together, we can make the galaxy better for everyone. The Hidden One ships started powering down their weapons. One by one, they turned off their camouflage systems completely, choosing to be seen for the first time in their history. It will not be easy, Sun Hai said. Many of our people will resist change. Change is never easy, Mei agreed. But it's better than staying hidden in the dark, isn't it? As the alien ships became fully visible against the stars, Du Young thought about how much had changed in just 1 month. Humans had not only seen through the Hidden One's camouflage, they had seen through their whole way of life. And in doing so, they had changed the galaxy forever. The time of hiding was over. The time of seeing clearly was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the confrontation near Earth's moon. The Hidden One ships now flew openly through space, their light-bending technology turned off. Captain Du Young stood in a large meeting room on Earth's biggest space station, looking out at the strange mix of human and alien ships moving around outside. "It's still hard to believe how much has changed," Mayray said, walking up beside him. She looked tired but happy. She had been working with the Hidden One's scientists every day, learning their technology while teaching them human science. "Good changes?" Du Young asked. "Mostly good," she answered. "Some of their people still don't like being visible all the time. But look at what we've accomplished together in just 6 months." She was right. The room they stood in was full of examples. New machines that combined human and Hidden One's technology filled the tables. On the walls, screens showed pictures of distant planets they were now exploring together. In one corner, a group of human and alien children played together, the humans wearing special glasses that helped them see the aliens better. Hajin walked into the room, carrying her computer tablet. "Captain, the first reports are coming in from the joint exploration teams. They've made contact with 3 new species that the Hidden Ones were watching. All peaceful first contacts, just like we planned." Do Young nodded, feeling proud. After the battle at the moon, humans had suggested a new way of handling developing species. Instead of hiding and testing them, they would openly help them grow and learn. It was working better than anyone had expected. Tairi floated into the room, its colors showing happiness. The alien had become Earth's main contact with the Hidden Ones, helping both sides understand each other better. "The Council of Elders has finished their vote," it announced. Everyone in the room turned to listen. The Hidden Ones' Council of Elders had been discussing big changes to their society. Their vote would decide if these changes would happen. "They have agreed to all the proposals," Tairi said. "No more secret tests. No more hunting. From now on, we will work openly with humans to help other species grow safely into space travel." The room burst into happy noise. People hugged each other, and the aliens' colors turned bright with joy. Even the children stopped playing to join in the celebration. "There's more," Tairi continued when the noise died down. "The Council wants to share all our knowledge with humans. Everything we've learned in thousands of years of watching the galaxy. They say it's time for a new age of openness." Mayray's eyes got wide. "Everything. Your space technology, your medical knowledge, your understanding of other species. Everything," Tairi confirmed. "And in return, we want to learn everything from you. Your way of thinking, your science, your art, your music. Everything that makes humans so different from any species we've ever met." Do Young watched as humans and aliens around the room started talking excitedly about what they could learn from each other. Scientists made plans to work together. Teachers talked about new ways to help children learn. Engineers looked at the machines they'd already built together and imagined what else they could create. "Captain," Hei-Jin called from her desk, "we're getting messages from all over Earth and from the Hidden One's worlds. Everyone wants to be part of this new partnership. They're calling it the Great Opening." "The Great Opening," Du Young repeated softly. "I like that name." Sun Hai entered the room, carrying something that looked like a glass ball. The alien had become a good friend over the past months, helping everyone understand the big changes that were happening. "We have a gift for humans," Sun Hai said, placing the ball on a table. "This contains star maps showing every world we've ever visited, every species we've watched, every place we've hidden. We want humans to help us visit them all again, this time as friends, not hunters." Mayray picked up the ball carefully. "There must be thousands of worlds marked here. This could take years to explore." "Yes," Tairi agreed. "Years of learning, growing, and working together. Isn't that better than hiding and fighting?" Just then, one of the alien children floated over to them. It was wearing what looked like a school uniform, something the Hidden Ones had never had before. Their children used to train in hiding and hunting. Now they went to school with human children, learning about science, art, and friendship. Teacher Myray, the child said, its colors showing excitement. Can you help us? We're trying to build a model of Earth, but we can't get the colors right. Myray smiled. Of course I'll help. Maybe you can help me too. I'm trying to understand how your people change colors. We could learn from each other. Do-young watched as Myray went to help the children. Around the room, humans and aliens worked together, talked together, and planned together. No one was hiding anymore. No one was afraid. He walked to the window again and looked out at space. Somewhere out there, thousands of new worlds waited to be visited. Thousands of new species waited to be met. And this time, they would meet them openly and honestly, working together to help them join the galaxy's family of species. Thinking deep thoughts, Captain, Terry asked, floating up beside him. Just thinking about how much better things are when no one has to hide, Do-young answered. When we can all see each other clearly. We thought being invisible made us strong, Terry said. But you showed us that being seen, really seen and understood, that's what makes us strong. Hajin joined them at the window. The first teaching ships are ready to launch, she reported. Human and Hidden One's crews working together to help other species learn about space travel. They're calling them the Friendship Fleet. Do-young smiled. The Friendship Fleet, he said. Much better than hiding and hunting. Together, they watched as the new ships prepared to leave. Each one carried humans and Hidden Ones working together, ready to meet new species and help them grow. They would travel to worlds that the Hidden Ones had once watched in secret, but this time they would go as teachers and friends. The age of hiding was over. The age of seeing, learning, and growing together had begun, and it had all started because humans could see what others thought was invisible. As the ships lifted off into space, their crews waving goodbye, Do-young thought about how far they had come. From first contact to partnership, from fear to friendship, from hiding to openness, the galaxy had changed more in 6 months than it had in thousands of years. And this was just the beginning.